welcome back to my channel, and today I have a very highly requested video, and it's actually for my beginners out there. I've had a lot of requests for me to create a video in regards to how to apply eyeshadow. There's a lot of people that watch videos and they see all these amazing artists go crazy with the eyeshadow, and it kind of intimidates them, like, where do I start? So I wanted to show you guys how to create a beautiful look, but in very simple steps. I wanted to show you guys that you don't need to use a lot of eyeshadows or anything to create a really beautiful look. So let's go ahead and get started. Step that I always do, and I always do this, whether I use concealer or I use a product like this right here, which this is the Urban Decay. Let's see. This is the Urban Decay, the eyeshadow primer potion, and I actually just purchased this. I used to use a different one. I forgot what it's called. I think it's by Benefit, but I fell in love with this one. The other one I did not like very much because it actually made my eyelids a little oily, and then my eyeshadow was moving all over the place. Not a big fan. So this one right here I love, so definitely suggest this one right here. But I usually prime my eyelids before I start my look, and like I said, you can also use concealer and set it, so either one works perfectly fine. I just really like this one right here. So let's go ahead and start applying this. Alright, so I brought you in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. So what I do is I usually just do like 2 little lines like this, because a little bit goes a long way with this right here. You can either use your fingers or use a brush. I am going to use a brush this time. And I'm just going to be using this BH Cosmetic brush that looks like this. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I apply it evenly throughout my eyelid. It's up to you how far you would like to take it. I usually like to take it pretty far because I also use this like a way to highlight my brow bone. Alright, so once you've evenly applied that, I'm going to go ahead and set that. You never want to jump in and start working with eyeshadow, because the eyeshadow is going to stick to this and it's going to skip and it's not going to look nice. So you definitely want to set it. I usually just use a setting powder. You can also use like white or a cream shade of an eyeshadow, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my setting powder. So what this is going to do is this is actually going to start a nice base for the colors that are going to come. It's going to give you a nice clean canvas. You're not going to see any veins pulling through, and it actually makes your eyeshadow pop even more. So that's why I like to apply either concealer or this eyeshadow primer. Alright, so the first brush that I like to use is a nice fluffy brush. One of my favorites is this Morphe M441 brush, and it looks like this. It's nice and fluffy. So this is nice and fluffy. The other one that I really like to use is this NYX professional makeup brush, and it's the number 16, and it looks like this. Now, the reason why I like to use these is because they're nice and fluffy. They're not going to pack on too much color, and that's what you're definitely going to want to go with for the first eyeshadow that you use. The first eyeshadow that you're going to use is going to be your transition shade, which is pretty much going to be what's going to blend everything nicely. It's going to make a nice little fade, so you don't have your eyeshadow nice and, not nice, but you don't have your eyeshadow all harsh. So this is the palette that I decided to use right here, and it's the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye contour palette. And the reason why I decided to go with this is because it's really easy to show you guys like the type of colors that you can go with, because you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to use 20 different eyeshadows to create a look. You see a lot of artists do that because they've had a lot of practice, but it can be a little overwhelming when you're beginning an eye look, or when you're a beginner. So here is what this palette looks like, and what I like is that it has shades that you can go with. This is more like a smoky night out look, this is more of a cool tone look, and this is more of a warm tone look. And I'm gonna use these eyeshadows right here, and the color that I'm gonna be using for my transition shade is this one right here. So I'm actually gonna choose my M441 brush to start out my look, and I'm gonna grab a little bit, and then I usually like to tap off the excess. And then I normally like to start out at the end right here, so most of the color gets packed on out here. And then I usually like to start out with windshield wiper movements. I just go back and forth. And I start out lightly and then start packing on the color. That way you don't have too of an intense look, and because you want to be able to like go in circular motions to blend it out. The other thing that I like to do is I like to flick it out. The transition shade is also going to be one of your lighter shades. It's actually going to be, usually it starts out being my lightest shade, and it's usually a couple skin tones darker, or even almost like my skin tone. So, and now I'm just starting to go in circular motions to make sure it all blends out, just like that. Alright, and another very important tip is how you hold your brush. I forgot to explain this when I first started. You'd never want to hold this here. Like when you pass this, no, you don't have much control. The farther back, the better, because you're pretty much just using your fingers to flick around, go in circles, move it back and forth. You're not pushing down really hard. You're just kind of going back and forth, circular motions. You're letting the brush do the work. You don't need to push extra hard. It's not going to apply it softly. It's not going to give you this nice smooth transition that you're looking for. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump into my second shade. And the second shade, you can definitely use the same brush that you're using, or you can go down to a smaller brush. Like the next brush that I usually like to use looks like this, and this is a Morphe, or I'm sorry, a Sedona Lace EB09. And this one compared to this one, as you can tell, it's not as fluffy. And this will apply color more intensely in one spot. You can still blend with this, so it's not going to apply it that harshly. However, it is going to apply it a little more intense than the previous brush that we were using. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go in with this shade right here. Apply a little bit on my brush. You don't want to apply too much. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus it in the outer corner, and just kind of right here I'm just going to define my eye. That's really all I'm doing. So I'm just applying it out here in my outer corner, and I'm going to start going in circular motions. And always keep your blending brush on hand. I use the same one that I was using earlier, and I just like to blend over that. Now what's important about these looks is that you're going to keep blending. That's going to be the #1 rule. You're going to keep blending so you don't have any harsh lines. So I'm going to go back in with my Sedona Lace EB09 brush. go back into the same color, tap out the excess, and go back in and pack that color down. And then go in circular motions. And then I flick it out, kind of to give me that cat eye illusion. And then I go back to my blending brush and make sure everything is nice and blended and there aren't any harsh lines. You can do this step as many times as you want until the color is as intense as you would like it. Alrighty guys, so as soon as you have it as intense as you would like I said, you can go more harsh with your colors, you can go darker with your colors, you can go with a different color selection, you can create whatever look you would like. This is definitely just me showing you how you can create a nice look without having to go crazy and use all these eyeshadows. So now that you're done with that step, I go in with my eyelid color, and I usually like going with shimmers. You can always go with mattes. So if like it's for like going to work look or anything like that, I just like sometimes applying my highlighter, and I just apply it in there, and I think it looks really nice. So it's really up to you what color you decide to go with. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with my highlighter just because I love this highlighter. And the one that I'm using is my Laura Geller highlighter. And this shade I actually applied just with my finger. It's just easier for me. If you don't like to use your finger, you can always go with like a flat brush like this to apply it. And if you want to make it more intense, you can even use a little bit of your setting spray. But I'm just going to go ahead and apply it with my fingers. And then I push it down, and then I kind of just go like this. And that's it. And then I like to go back in with the second brush that I used, and I pack down a little bit more color just to make sure everything is blended. So you want to make sure everything is nice and blended, and just kind of move it around. Okay, so now that you've done that, it's up to you if you would like to go ahead and apply a nice wing liner. What I've been really into lately is just applying a little bit of a darker eyeshadow just to give it a little more definition. Is this Morphe M432 brush that looks like this. It's a flat shader brush, and I go with a darker color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just dropped the palette. Ooh. Alright, so the color that I'm gonna be going into, since I don't want to go super dark, is this one. Oops. This one right here. Now I'm going to apply it a little bit on my brush. And all I'm doing is I'm just getting really close to my lashes. And I like doing this because you can kind of smoke it out. It's not so intense. And I think it looks really nice. Next, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and finish my brows. So here we go. And the next thing I like to do is I like to add like a little bit of my brow bone highlight. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the same Gilded Honey highlighter because I like looking all glowy everywhere, and it just goes. So that's what I'm gonna do, and just apply it right there like that. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the lashes. And I'm gonna use my eyelash curler. And the mascara that I'm gonna be using is this L'Oreal mascara right here. And I usually like to go in with about 3 coats just because I haven't really been into falsies lately. So I've just been rocking my natural lashes. And then I start from the root and kind of just wiggle up. Just like this, and then I'm gonna do another. I'll let this dry a little bit, and then I'll do another 2 coats probably. While I go ahead and let that dry a little bit, let's go ahead and start with the bottom, the lower lash line. And I'm gonna start out with this brush right here. It's nice and small, and this is the Sedona Lace 904 brush. And I'm gonna start out with my first shade my transition shade that I showed you guys earlier, which is gonna be this one right here. Now I'm gonna go back in with my flat shader brush, and this is the M432 brush. And I'm gonna go into the second shade that we used earlier, which is gonna be this shade right here. And actually, before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and use this Rimmel, what color is this? Rimmel London Nude eyeliner to open up the eyes. This is gonna open up your eyes. It's gonna give you the appearance that your eyes are larger. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my flat shader brush and use that second shade that I showed you. And I'm gonna apply that tightly. Just gonna push it, and I'm gonna put it tightly on my lower waterline. And I'm not gonna take it all the way in. I'm just gonna do the outer corner like that. So it kind of matches what's on the top part. All right. The last 2 steps is I like to go in with a nice bright shimmery color in my inner corners, and one of the ones that I've really been into lately is in the Jaclyn Hill palette, and it's this one right here, and that one's called In Light. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that in my inner corner. I'm gonna use this really small brush right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply it. This is really gonna brighten your eye look up. It's gonna look you more awake, and I love it. Alrighty guys, so the very last step is applying mascara to your lower lashes. Alrighty guys, so this is the completed look. I hope you found this video helpful for my beginner ladies out there. I really do hope that you recreate this look. Use any eyeshadow that you want to use any colors. Step out of the box, have fun, use some beautiful bright colors, or go a little more dark and more intense for like a more smoky night out look. And I would love for you guys to recreate the looks, and if you do, tag me. My Instagram account is EliaLuna07, so definitely add me or recreate it and tag the look if you do. And yes guys, if you have any question, please leave your questions below, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button. Give it a huge thumbs up. Yes, yes, yes. Alright guys, see you guys in the next video. Bye.